Hey everyone, Ekman here with another video, and today we have a top 8 breakdown for my second Fusion World Weekly that I held last night. It's a weekly tournament that I'm doing on Wednesdays with signups starting the Monday beforehand. They've been a lot of fun, and I hope you guys join the next one as well. A couple of things before we get started. First, if you guys like these videos, please make sure to hit that like and subscribe. I also stream the tournament on my YouTube and on my Twitch, and I'll be re-uploading it on Sunday this week. That's when I'm planning to do it. And also, shoutouts to Kazuko Cards for being one of the sponsors for this event. They've got a lot of cool leaders. They just added this Gohan one as well. So if you guys are interested, check out the description for a link. And if you get first place in one of these tournaments, you do get one of these leaders too. So it's been a really cool prize to top it off. And I really do appreciate them reaching out and helping these events too. So make sure to check them out. And let's get into the video itself. So we did have 37 players with 5 rounds of Swiss into this top 8. And honestly, the more and more I play into this format, the better I feel like it is. I think a lot of people, including myself, were like, oh, green's just obviously the best color. It's been doing really well. It's at the top end. But now I'm not too sure. Now I think that there's a lot of different leaders that have like gone through developments. We've seen what cards are good, what cards are bad, what have kind of countered it. And right now, I know this is like, just a large locals kind of event, but we had 7 different leaders in the top 8, which I think is really impressive. So, and then you can just even see like the leader breakdown. There's a good amount of diversity for something like this as well, with 8 Frieza, 7 Broly, 4 Goku, 4 Beerus, 4 Son Goku, 3 Aandroidd 17, 3 Son Gohan Childhood, 3 of the Star Deck Vegeta, and 1 Cooler as well. So honestly, I think the only color that's a little bit lesser than the others is probably blue, but it still shows up. No one played Goku Black this week, which is really interesting. Usually I get a couple people on that. In Trunks, Vegeta did pretty well too, which we'll be going over on that one, but it's been really interesting to see this, and I feel like everything's been getting a good chance of winning a lot of the time. I'd say Frieza's probably like the only deck that has like a little bit more of an edge in some spots. I think Broly's pretty close there too, but Frieza's just been topping a lot more and just winning, which is really interesting. So anyways, since we have 7 different leaders, I'm just going to go over each one of these decks real quick for this one. So we're just going to go through them as well, starting off with our first place list, which is Dane with their copy of Starter Deck Frieza. This is like a super duper kind of value version of it. In the sense that we are playing just like a lot of these 1-drops are playing 4 Sorbet, 4 1-drop Friezas, 4 Ginyus, and then 4 of the Zarbons. And then we do have a lot of Self-Awakeners with the Frieza, Zarbon, and the Knees, and also with the Raccoon. So we have 13 Self-Awakeners in this one, and then a top end of Cooler, the Golden Frieza, and that's about it. So not like Golden Frieza is like our only kind of win card in this one. We don't have any extra cards. No 4-cost Frieza 2, which I've been 4-cost Frieza in this deck is okay. I think Cooler's the better card, which this does get a lot of value in a lot of matchups. Sometimes it doesn't, but like against green, you don't get as much viability with it. But just being able to get like a free rest, especially like in the mirror match, I think that's very strong for these decks. And then being able to restand it and you get like the when blocking effect for free every turn too is really rough. Once you see this Cooler hit the board, you're kind of frustrated. You have to try to remove it, but it usually just gets a lot of value if it's able to stick. So I think it's been a very good card in Frieza itself. So other than that, we do have like the tech of 4 copies of Kui. It is a 10k counter, so you're not like worried about running it that much, but it does have blocker, and it's really good specifically against green. So when KO, choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and switch it to rest mode. So that means that this gets around Aandroidd 17, 18, and Broly in that matchup, which I think is really strong, specifically since if you're trying to go later into the game, being able to have this card to kind of answer their big cards is pretty strong. So I do like the addition of this. 4's a lot, but in general, I think this deck is pretty good. So here's their build. Congratulations to Danny and our other Freezer player Arjun as well, who ended up going in the finals. Honestly, I know that it was a mirror match. The finals was really good. It was a really strong game, and I think it was really interesting to see how it goes. Obviously, spoilers, Danny won, but you should see after watching the first couple minutes, you're like, oh, how did he come back from this? And it's very interesting. So big differences for this build is that we are playing a couple copies of some extra cards. So 2 copies of Death Ball, which are nice, being able to get the rest of a 3LS. This does help you kind of go bigger on your attack turn, since usually like they have like a 1-cost or 2-cost out that you can use this for, which is kind of nice. the defensive properties are not as good, but maybe like against the mirror match, if they have like a wide board already, this death ball can do something. And then I still like Supernova. I think Frieza has a little bit trickier of a time than Cooler, taking advantage of it, but being able to be a 20k for one and then also being able to stun something is great. I just think sometimes you might not have the timing to play it correctly since you want to play Cooler on 4 and then Golden Frieza on 5 more times than not, but it is fantastic, especially trying to go for game. Being able to spend 1 to go plus 20 is in a good spot. So I do like running this card. It's being only your turn makes it a little trickier. And then also we have the reverse. We're playing the Frieza in this one and not the Cooler. I do like Frieza in the Cooler leader specifically, but in this leader it's a little bit trickier to gain value, which is really tricky. And then in the mirror match, if they rest this dude with like their Cooler or with a 1-drop Frieza, you just never get to attack with this card again. Since we have so many ways to rest these 4-drop Friezas, and it resets at the end of your turn instead of the start of your turn, there's just a big chance that it never like comes online again, which is kind of tricky. So other than that, I think that's good. We do actually have like the banana as well. End of your turn, choose memory rest mode, Frieza, and switch to active mode, which can be itself, which is interesting. So it can be good for like some early attacking as well. But just a really interesting list. I think this one's very different. It just kind of shows that deck building in this game is still very flexible, even with such a small card pool. And even though we're in set 1, there's way different ways to build decks, which I think is kind of cool. So this is Arjun's version of it here. Next up, we have Vegeta. So this is Tyler's version of it. And of the last couple of tournaments that we've run, Vegeta hasn't really made an impact for it. I think there's the conversation that blue just doesn't have a lot of top end a lot of the time. Like our best removal in blue is this 5-drop Vegeta, which gets rid of a 4-cost or less, which if you have the energy marker and they have a good 4-cost to remove, sure. Like this is really good for getting rid of Cooler, as like the yellow one that we're seeing. But in general, it's like in this weird spot where like blue just can't get rid of a 5 or more, right? Like Trunks is really good at 2. It puts it back into their hand, but and it's for 3, so it's like cheaper. But if you play like a 6-cost, like they can't do anything about it. And green's really good at doing that. Also yellow usually kind of goes wide on the board, a little bit wider than blue can kind of handle. So those are my issues with the deck that I've been playing with it, but there is a lot of value from the deck as well. It can be very aggressive. I do like having the Go Tanks. This card being able to draw 2 cards that, add 2 10Ks of like a Sun Goten and a Trunks Youth is very strong, especially like on defense. You want to kind of keep your hand size low but rotate through your cards, which is really good. I think there's a conversation is, which one's better, either Vegeta or Trunks, because I think their power level are pretty similar in a lot of ways. Vegeta is definitely more aggressive since you are able to get 35k for free, which is really good if you're playing against Broly, since they do need to run, a plus 10k to get out of that, which Broly doesn't like to do. And then the other one, Trunks, is a little bit more value-based and from there. But being able to get to late game, getting, Peel Off to be able to cycle your value with Final Hope Slash as well is very good. My Future has been fantastic, like the best Self-Awakener in the game still. And then also, 1-drop Zamasu's been, I've been secretly really liking this card in blue. Especially since you want to try to gain advantage without being able to draw cards, because you don't need the card draw to get there. And Zamasu being able to say, I'm going to play this, I'm going to get rid of their 1-drop Sorbet or whatever, and I'm still a 10k and my hand size is still 7 or less, so I can get my abilities off. So I think that's been really helpful for the deck too. So other than that, I think blue just needs kind of like maybe a better like mid-late game at times. The value that you get is like infinite though if you're able to sequence everything. So that's been strong, but it's interesting. I might have to try Vegeta again too. So this is the list here from Tyler. All right, next up we have Brian, our Aandroidd's build of Aandroidd 17. I've been jamming a pretty dang close version of this one with this. I think that Aandroidd 17 is actually in a good spot just because you do get to be a 30k leader on attack for free with its effect, which Gohan gets more value for it, but it does mean you have to play the 5-drop Goku, which is a good card. But if they remove it or you don't have time to play that on your turn 5, then you just kind of have this like weird spot where you just never want to use your leader ability as Gohan. So 17, 18 without having to like give up anything, I think it's been very strong. This one can be kind of more defensive too, which is kind of fun with this one. some changes and choices I've seen Brian made. First is Aandroidd 16. Like he's playing like I would say like a really greedy late game version, playing like 3 copies of Sun Gohan Childhood to heal, which are just obnoxious if they hit at the right time. Also, they're 35Ks, which are just generally strong numbers for this game. Then we have Aandroidd 16. So when this is KO'd, you get to play another 6-drop from your drop, which is generally only good against green because green has no way to remove this, or blue. I guess blue has no way to remove this since it's a 6 cost right now, so they have to like KO this in one way or the other. So against those 2 matchups you're good. Red and yellow can either rest it or just minus it, which means you don't get the win KO effect, but in those 2 matchups you're strong. And then we just have like the 17-18, the Sun Gohan Childhood, and then our event card or extra cards as well. So 1 copy of Big Bang Attack. This one's fine. I don't love it at times because like giving up the energy and to KO a 5 or less is a little bit expensive, but it does get some good removal. It's like Golden Frieza or something where, you know, Sun Gohan Childhood just doesn't get that either. So anyways, I really, this is like the deck I've been liking a lot more in the last couple of weeks. It's been doing very good, and I'm happy that Brian was able to go X1 with it. So there is the build there. And then next up, we do have our Beerus player. So this is Stephen Martin's version of it, and our winner from the previous week, running a pretty similar build for it as well. I do like the Beerus, what the deck kind of looks like. This is a really personalized build. I keep seeing Tournament Power Arena. I still don't know how I feel about it. Some people swear by it. Some people say it's bad. I'm in the it's too slow, or like it's rough to gain the value that you really want for it. I do agree, like sometimes you do get it, but like the timing for when you want to play it is kind of off for me. Even if you play it for 1 with Roshi, even then. So I've been seeing more people kind of switch to this Whis that just gets the minus 5k once and like gets the 10k. So I think that's helpful for some matchups. Like the other one, being able to do it once per turn is great, but it's being a 5k I think has been expensive for Beerus. So I get that. I like the Fua that we have the hit to help self-awaken. Botama's been a favorite of mine as well in red, just being able to have a 20k that they have to KO by effect, which some decks have a harder time to do than others. Can be bounced back to hand, but blue, and also get minused in the mirror, but it's still like good in a lot of ways. So just like a 20k attacker that they kind of have to answer by an effect is kind of nice. And then we have the rest of our like 3-drop Goku is probably still the strongest 3-drop in the game, being a 25k. Power is strong in a lot of matchups. And then also Frost for yellow, which yellow can answer this card, but they have to spend resources and time for it, and it's almost always worth it in my mind. Especially since I think Beerus likes to go a little bit later in the game because you gain value from like your leader effect every turn for it. So anyways, very personalized list, a lot of 3s and 2s, and I think that's really cool. And congratulations to Steven for their finish with Beerus. Next up, we have Broly. So this is Xavier's build of it here, and also a pretty personalized list. We do see like a lot of 1s and 2s for this guy. Broly's kind of fallen off a little bit for me. I still think it's very strong, and being a 25k is obnoxious, but I think some decks are just aggressive enough to kind of push for that or kind of find where the value is. If you kind of miss out on your slow start though, them being able to play 8-drop Broly and then not lose is fantastic. The biggest way I've found to kind of beat this deck is that if they have to play 8-drop Broly and then they have to pass the turn with no energy open for their meteors, you kind of just win from that one. So I think that's really important. We're also running some really interesting ratios. So 4 gigantic meteor, but only 3 copies of destructive strength. We're playing the 1 Sun Gohan Childhood. We're playing 2 of the Vegeta and 1 of the Son Goku Ramper, and then 3 of the Turles. So not like the 4 and 4 that I'm usually seeing, and then also the Son Goku. So we do still have a lot of ramp, and you don't really miss ramping on 3 if you can get advantage from it. But we also have like the Son Goku that gets plus 20k during your own turn if there's a Son Gohan Childhood in your drop, which we do have a couple of those. And then also the Trunks feature, which I've been liking this card in green too, just to be able to push advantage against yellow. Like yellow really can't answer this card, and it pressures there's 2-drop Friezas, and they're bored a lot of the time too. So I think that's important. But other than that, also 4 copies of this one. So we're definitely going to see our Son Gohan Childhoods. And, this card is pretty silly and Broly because, your cost is going down to 3. But if you can heal with Son Gohan Childhood up back to 4 as a 25k base, that's very strong. So Anyways, a really interesting list here, and congratulations to Xavier for their finish. And then next up we have Son Goku from the starter deck. This is one red deck that I need to keep going back to and testing more and more. I really do like what it does, being able to get like the +5 on either player's turn is in a good spot. It also means that in a lot of ways, I've just seen it. This is like not the reason to play the card, but a lot of people just misplay with it a lot, where they just don't remember that I can just get out of an attack for free. Like they'll attack a 25k into my Piccolo and I'll be like, okay, cool. It's a 30k. So you just wasted the combo card or whatever. So I think that's really impactful. And it works really well with your 25ks specifically because you can make them 30, and 30 is a really good number for attacking over a 20k leader. So that helps you a lot. And yeah, you just get a lot of value. Son Gohan Adolescence is a strong card for us. Hit's still been a very good card for us too. And I've just been enjoying this deck too. So I need to test it out more. It's been doing better than I thought. And I think it's honestly in a not too bad spot here. So this is the build here from Thomas. And then lastly, we do have a Son Gohan Childhood, which, I think week 1 of the meta, people are like, oh, this is the best deck. It's clearly the strong one. And I think it's been taking a little bit of a step back. This is definitely meta where there's a lot of decks that are very strong, which I think is apparent by that. We do need, again, the 5-drop Goku in this deck to, I think, get our max power. And if our opponent has a way to remove this, we're in a kind of a rough spot. But if they don't, being a 35k leader on offense and defense every turn is really strong for us. I think is a very good card for that. And in the current meta, it's not super easy for a lot of decks to remove this. Blue can bounce it back to hand. Green usually doesn't have a way to at least get rid of it on the turn it is. Yellow can like rest it and attack into it, but it's not fantastic. Red's the one that you can really answer it with, though, if they can get -25k, which is not too difficult, especially if you're Beerus. So but other than that, I think that Gohan's still fine. I think, every one of our green decks did top this event, so that is showing like green is still in a good spot. And it's just like a little bit dependent on doing that. It's a little bit harder, I feel, for this deck to get to 8 because you either don't have like the cards to ramp up there, or you have to use your I don't know, sometimes I feel like my leader's a vanilla for most of the game, and it's like once or twice I have to use this Activate Battle, because once you start using it, you've kind of committed that, oh, I'm not getting more energy than this if I don't have the 5-drop Goku. So anyways, this is the build there. Congratulations to Matthew. And that's going to be it for this event. So again, thank you guys for coming out to these. These have been a lot of fun. If you guys are interested in the next one, make sure to check the description for the information there. And thank you again for Dane for commentating with me, and Human for being the judge for it. And make sure, just kind of tournament organizers, there's not really any judging for it. But and the live stream is in the description, and we'll make sure to post that again on Sunday too. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all next time.